the Monty Award that I got. The Monties are for the Montgomery County Arts Alliance. It's the 6th annual event. Big shindig, tuxedos, red carpet, the whole shebang. And it was put together 6 years ago to recognize predominantly all the volunteers that deal with the arts in Montgomery County. You know, you got the theaters, and I directed The Three Musketeers a few months ago for the Owen Theater. And I had to, unfortunately, at the last minute, step in one of the roles. I had to replace an actor, and that role got me the Monty Award. I got to play the King of France in the Musketeers. I've acted enough. I've been Ben Franklin and John Adams in 2 different productions of 1776. I've played Sigmund Freud. I've been Scrooge on 4 or 5 different occasions. I guess my young character days are behind me. I'm playing the old crotchety people. When I played Ben Franklin, afterwards people said, "You look just like him." I'm like, thanks. Appreciate that a lot. But I've directed a lot of shows. I love directing musicals. I did Three Musketeers. I'm currently directing Noises Off for Stageworks Theater. For Woodlands Arts in the Park in September, we're doing a one-night Romeo and Juliet in conjunction with the Woodlands Symphony Orchestra. They'll be on stage with us. We're setting it in the 1980s, so the symphony will be playing 80s tunes. Well, I was born on Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin, Texas. My father was Navy, and left when I was a year old, moved to California. And when I was about 7, we moved to Japan for a few years, and then England after that. So I spent my formative years in England and moved back in 1982. I was 16, got to go to the University of St. Thomas at that age, and kind of put down my roots here and just steadily started moving north until I hit the Woodlands. A writer. I was very fortunate. I was published when I was 7 years old. I wrote a short story, and I was also a guest columnist for the San Diego Evening Tribune. And my parents saw that, okay, he can write, and so they encouraged it. So I was able to write. Growing up, I was in a different career path, but in the mid-90s, I had an opportunity to rebrand myself completely as a writer. So I took a year off from work, I started writing some plays, won a couple of awards, and that's where that took off. It's about the audience. It's funny because I haven't settled down on any one thing. I've won awards as a playwright, as a screenwriter. I'm a best-selling novelist, believe it or not. I know, right? It's called Time Crossed, a love story out of time. It's about 12 years old now, I think. I was very fortunate that got released right around the time The Time Traveler's Wife came out, so time travel romance was a big thing. I got a huge response from the romance market. And I love going to a movie or a play, and I love plays because there's no screen in between. That's the best thing about plays. You know, whether it's a musical or a scary story or a comedy, it's the audience and you and nothing in between. And that's just a charge, because nothing's separating you. So the emotions can get heightened watching a show, whether it's a spectacle show like Phantom of the Opera, where it's all glitz and glamour, or, you know, I got to play Sigmund Freud in a 2-man show last year. It was Sigmund Freud meets C.S. Lewis, who wrote, you know, the Narnia books, on the eve of World War II. And so I got to play old, dying, crotchety Sigmund Freud with young, idealistic C.S. Lewis. And we had talkbacks with the audience every night, because it was a short play. We wanted to, you know, kind of spread out the time. And we thought going into it, maybe 5-10 people would stay behind and ask questions. Every night, 95% of the audience stayed behind for an extra 30 minutes to an hour to ask questions about us as actors, about the characters. So we had to, like, really learn the history of our characters and motivations. So when people ask, well, how does Freud's life compare to yours, we were able to answer. I want to write more. You know, I'm a filmmaker also. I've done films that won a couple of film festivals. And I think just leaving the legacy, creating these universes, establishing a solid business with great clients that just keeps that community going. Because seriously, all my clients I count as friends. They're business relationships, but it's a sense of community, truly. And I know I sound schmaltzy saying that, but it's true. With Woodlands Online, you don't appreciate how wide-reaching it is. And I was doing one of the events updates and cracked a joke about one of the plays that was happening in Conroe. I said that West Side Story had poodle skirts. And someone called me in the production there, I just saw your thing, and there are no poodle skirts in this production. So Okay, I'm glad you, not only did you watch, but you cared enough to call back. So I did a mea culpa afterwards and did a little West Side Story dance on air to make up for it. But you never know who you're gonna reach. And it's awesome that you've got the sports, and I hear Woodlands Online is like really going deep in the sports this upcoming season. And we can watch Friday Night Lights on cable, or we can live it here, and I think that's awesome. It shows community all the way, and that's what I love about the Woodlands.